journey 6 months ago, my total focus was on building up our military, building up our strength, building up our borders, making sure that China, Japan, Mexico, both at the border and in trade, no longer takes advantage of our country. Certainly would never have made that horrible, disgusting, absolutely incompetent deal with Iran, where they get $150 billion. They're a terrorist nation. But I began it talking about other things, and those things are things I'm very good at, and maybe that's why I'm center stage. People saw it, people liked it, people respected it. A month ago, things changed. Radical Islamic terrorism came into effect even more so than it has been in the past. People like what I say, people respect what I say, and we've opened up a very big discussion that needed to be opened up. Thank you very much.
Not a good opening at all for Trump.
Thank you.
I thought Rubio had the best
debated,
opening.
Americans have witnessed terror attacks in Paris and San Bernardino. The FBI director says the country now faces the greatest terror threat since 9/11. You all have different approaches to keeping the country safe, and that will be the focus of tonight's debate. Mr. Trump, as you mentioned in your opening statement, part of your strategy is to focus in on America's borders, to keep the country safe.
I was mentioned, so I can bring up something, I think, right? Look, the simple fact is, if you think this is tough and you're not being treated fairly,
this isn't tough and easy.
Imagine what it's going to be like dealing with
always
or
as
dealing
easy
with
as
President Xi, or dealing with the Islamic terrorism that exists. This is a tough business.
Shut up, Jeb.
Tough guy, Jeb.
And we need to have a leader that is
real tough.
You're never going to be president of the United States by insulting your way to the
let's see,
presidency.
I'm at 42 and you're at 3, so
Doesn't
far
matter.
I'm doing better.
Doesn't matter.
So far I'm doing better. Yeah, you started off over here, Jeb. You're moving over further and further. Pretty soon you're going to be off the end.
This doesn't do a thing to solve the problem. It doesn't do a thing to solve the problem.
It sounds more and more what my daughter said that I said in the beginning. All the fighting and arguing is not advancing us.
It will not.
It is not the way we're going to strengthen our country. We will strengthen our country when we come together. And look, you've got Rand Paul, you've got Ted Cruz, you've got Marco. You've got a lot of people on this stage that have studied these issues. You know what a leader does? A leader has a sound program, has a good policy, and then brings people together to solve problems. Guess what? Both in Congress and balancing the budget, and in Ohio fixing the economy. And by the way, we talk about defense. The first thing we better get going is strengthening our economy, because if we don't have a strong economy, we can't pay for all of this. And the world wants us to be able to function from strength, believe it or not. Get our economy going, get these people together in a room. We can fix this, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have to fight all the time. It can be done, and we will be.
It's over. It's over. Move on.
Thank you.
Dr. Carson, Commander-in-Chief question again. You've been the head of neurosurgery for a big hospital. You're on a lot of boards of a lot of companies. You've traveled the world. You're going traveling again next week. But does that...
Syria right now, with so many lives on the line, is this a good time for the United States not to talk to Putin?
I didn't say I would cut off all communication with Putin. What I said was, as President of the United States, now is not the time to talk
Yes, you did.
with him. Reagan walked away.
God, I wish someone had a video and showed her what she actually said, because she has no clue what she said. And she's a liar.
There's a time and a place for action. I know Vladimir Putin. He respects strength. He lied to our president's face, didn't bother to tell him about warplanes and troops going into Syria. We need to speak to him from a position of strength. So as Commander-in-Chief, I will not speak to him until we've set up that no-fly zone, until we've gathered our Sunni Arab allies and begun to deny ISIS territory, until I've called the Supreme Leader of Iran and told him, New Deal. New Deal. We, the United States.
Notice she has not answered the question once.
Which we don't need anyone's permission or collaboration to do. And I will not speak to him personally until we've rebuilt the Sixth Fleet a little bit right under his nose, rebuilt the missile defense program in Poland right under his nose, and conducted a few military exercises in the Baltic states. And let us remember one other thing. Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama are responsible for the growth of ISIS because they precipitously withdrew from Iraq in 2011 against the advice of every single general and for political expediency. It's not these people up here. It's Hillary Clinton.
Thank you, Ms. Fiorina. Governor Christie. If the U.S. imposed
Wow, a Republican candidate actually listened to the debate and shut up. Good job, Carly.
Approached, invaded that no-fly zone. Would you be prepared to shoot down that Russian plane and risk war with Russia?
Not only are we prepared to do it, I would do it. A no-fly zone means a no-fly zone. Wolf, that's what it means. See, maybe because I'm from New Jersey, I just have this kind of plain language hang up, but
studies done, particularly in the Marine Corps, which begged this president not to move forward with this because people are going to get killed as a result of it. The president went forward anyway. That is not looking out after the best interests of anybody, including women, in that frontline position.
Governor Pataki, did you have a final response?
Yeah, I think what Rick said is very different from what he said initially, which was that he would reverse the policy that gave women not the right but the opportunity to serve in combat.
What were you listening to?
They can only do it if they're fit and capable and meet the same standards as men. So to reverse that policy and deny a woman who is prepared to risk her life to defend our freedom and is capable of doing everything a man could do is not the right thing for America in the 21st century. By the way, you see in Iraq, the Peshmerga, the Kurds, many of their top fighters are women. This is the 21st century. We're not radical Islam. We want to give women the opportunity to do whatever they are capable of achieving in this country.
Governor Pataki, let me stick with you. Governor Pataki, U.S. Army Sergeant Bo Bergdahl now facing a court-martial after leaving his base in Afghanistan, getting captured by the Taliban. Donald Trump has called for his execution. The former House Speaker John Boehner says he's innocent until proven guilty.
Why is Trump being discussed?
Of course he's innocent until proven guilty. I happen to believe he's guilty. The military did a very clear and long study as to whether or not he deserted in the face of the enemy, and they are now court-martialing him. I don't think.
You want that man as your president?
Executed. I do think he will have
a fair
military trial, not a civilian trial, at which time, assuming he's found guilty,
I'll vote for this macaroni before
he will be
attacking.
sentenced appropriate. But there's a bigger issue here. This administration has failed to protect us because they have treated radical Islamists as Americans who should be tried in civil court. That is ridiculous. They are
in this life. Hillsdale College, pursuing truth, defending liberty since 1844. Visit hillsdale.edu today.
Hey everyone, it's Mike and Brian, the Christian Mortgage Guys with Fellowship Home. And we were thinking, it may be time to pay someone's mortgage again. That's right, we've been so blessed to help our Christian listeners for years, and it's time to give back again to the listeners who have been so loyal to us. Give us a call today at 800-804-SAVE or online at fellowshiphomeloans.com to enter yourself into a chance to have your mortgage paid by us for 1 full year. That's right, not 6 months, 1 full year. Now through Christmas Day, enter yourself by calling 1-800-804-SAVE. That's 1-800-804-7283 or online at fellowshiphomeloans.com. Or get a double entry by liking us on Facebook at Fellowship Home Loans. Fellowship Home, mortgage lending guided by Christian principles. Mortgage payments will be based principal and interest payments only. No purchase necessary. Fellowship Home, NMLS 60134. License, New York Mortgage Banker License B500861. New Jersey Residential Mortgage Licenses 0511970.
At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
I was finding myself almost falling asleep at the wheel. That's the first thing I noticed, that hasn't happened since I've been taking Balance of Nature. I'm not as fatigued. That's been good.
Call now to find out how to get your free month supply of
policy of allowing Syrian refugees to come in.
68751. Use promo code THEANSWER.
Refugees is dangerous. You say it just takes one jihadist to destroy the world. Do you think there is any way to properly vet refugees coming into the United States?
Of course there's a proper way to.
Don't belittle
their sacrifice. Shut up.
I'm not belittling their sacrifice, Lindsay, but I'm just making note that on the part of Americans, we have sent National Guard troops over.
I wish this was beer because these GOP candidates are just.
They come back for 5, they go back for another 18. We're wearing these guys out. They agreed to be citizen soldiers. We've turned them into full-time soldiers because we've not kept up the pace by
Lindsey Graham, don't speak. Don't speak. Don't speak.
To fill these forces, and that's what we need to be doing.
Senator Graham?
No.
Senator Graham,
To those, the dwell times in the Army were a bigger
God.
problem than they are today. You want to fix this,
You get the Army to 500,000, not 420,000. You want to win this war, grow the Navy to 350 ships, not 275. Sequestration is Latin for doing really dumb things. We're going to have the smallest Navy since 1915, the smallest Army since 1940. I was yelling and screaming, don't do sequestration. I was right. If I am President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief, we're going to rebuild our military without a draft.
But you won't.
We're going to go on the offense, and they're ready to go.
The bell rang. Shut up.
They just need to be led.
Senator Santorum, earlier this month, the Pentagon opened all U.S.
Now we got damn scrotum face going on here.
positions to women. You previously opposed allowing women in combat roles. As president, would you change the Pentagon's new policy?
I would use the studies that were done that were ignored by this military, that there were certain positions that frankly were not suitable. And they pushed a political agenda above what is in the best interest of the safety, security, and effectiveness of our fighting units. So I would go back to using
Who would vote for any of these four?
which is
Any of them?
with people on those frontline positions who are best prepared to do the job, survive the job, and come back home safely.
So just to be clear, you're saying yes, you would change the policy back.
Our nature.
Our purpose is to seek truth.
In order to discover and to act on what is good and beautiful in this life.
Hillsdale College, pursuing truth, defending liberty, since 1844. Visit hillsdale.edu today.
Hey friends, if you share my love of freedom, my love of America, then I'd like to invite you to stand with me and well over 1 million other patriotic Americans.
WNYM Hackensack. The epidemic of back pain is enormous. It's the leading workers' compensation injury, and it's only getting worse. To talk with us about this is Dr. Melinda Keller from the Brooklyn Spine Center. Tell us how your success rate is higher without surgery.
To be a candidate for non-surgical spinal decompression, you need disc involvement. Okay. So step one, after a thorough consultation on the phone, to see are they a candidate. When they come into the office, the examination is quite thorough. The examination includes recent MRI review, motion x-ray, computerized nerve testing, and the patient also has to be a cooperative patient. We're seeing results on post-MRI of herniated discs totally resolved. Our mission is to help patients avoid surgery, avoid injections, and if they could actually get the health of their spine restored, it's just very rewarding.
We're talking with Dr. Melinda Keller from the Brooklyn Spine Center. Call them with your questions at 800-707-5010, or you can visit brooklynspinecenter.com.
Hi, I'm Deborah Fairchild, Blue Rock Energy's fabulous New York consultant. At Blue Rock Energy, we do more than just supply electricity and natural gas. We provide solutions for your business. Whether your business is located in any of the 5 boroughs or Long Island, I am just a
imagination and traditions that glorify the true reason for the season.
Saving Christmas. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Available now on DVD in stores and at savingchristmas.com.
From the studios of AM 970 The Answer on Broadway and Wall Street in Manhattan, this is WNYM, Hackensack, New Jersey, New York City.
You're listening to live coverage of the Republican presidential debate here on the Salem Radio Network. We now pause 10 seconds for our stations to identify themselves. This is the Salem Radio Network. We're back live in the spin room of the Venetian Hotel here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're counting down to the first debate less than half an hour from now. So let's go back to our co-host, SRN's Mike Gallagher, and townhall.com political editor, Guy Benson.
As people continue to gather here in the spin room, about 30 minutes away from the preliminary debate, sometimes sort of patronizingly called the kiddie table, the kiddie pool. There's no kid play for the RNC, the Republican National Committee. Sean,
who are carrying out these attacks against America. They let Americans who are confused and angry lump everyone together. We have to embrace the Muslims who embrace our freedom and living in safety. We have to destroy those who embrace jihad and want to engage in violence against us here or abroad.
Senator Santorum.
Does Jack, you know that he's still running?
Proposals on the grounds that it's unworkable. God. You've made religious liberty a hallmark of your career.
This is good.
Do
Rick's
you
got scrotum
believe
face.
in religious liberty for Muslims as well as Christians?
Of course I do. But what Donald Trump was saying
He has
was
no clue.
nothing against Muslims.
God Santorum has no
His
clue.
comment was against this administration who doesn't have a policy
He's
to
lost.
properly vet people coming into this country. Let's just be honest about what's being talked about here. And I know people will pile on because it makes sense to pile on, maybe from the polls.
Let's being honest is that
He
you're an
brings up a
idiot.
legitimate issue. The fact of the matter is, not all Muslims are jihadists, and no one, including I suspect Donald Trump, would say that. But the reality is, all jihadists are Muslims. That's a reality. And we have to stop worrying about offending some people and start defending all Americans, because we're not. Right?
Okay, all right.
Senator Graham.
Not a bad answer.
Rick, please understand the only way we're going to win the war against radical Islam is for the world to unite. I wonder where you're going to win this war. Help people in Islam who reject radical Islam to fight over there and destroy this ideology. Donald Trump has done the one single thing you cannot do: declare war on Islam itself. ISIL would be dancing in the streets. They just don't believe in dancing. This is a coup for them. And to all of our Muslim friends throughout the world, like the King of Jordan and the President of Egypt, I am sorry. He does not represent us. If I am president, we will work together. People in the faith through all over the world destroy this radical ideology. Declaring war on the religion only helps ISIL.
Senator Graham, you said you'd rather lose the election without Trump than try to win with him. Does that mean you'll be voting for the Democratic nominee if Donald Trump wins the presidential nomination?
I'm going to support the Republican nominee, whoever he or she may be. Like Bob Dole, I may sleep late that day if it's Trump. But the bottom line, if it's Trump, so be it. That's who I'll support. Please understand we're in a war that we can't afford to lose. And what he said about banning Muslims coming here to America has made us all less safe, and it's the worst possible thing he could do in this war. He clearly doesn't understand this war and how to win it. For God's sakes, pick somebody who is worthy of the sacrifice of those who are fighting this war and who actually knows how to win, and I don't believe that's Mr. Trump.
But I'm always puzzled by his attack on this issue. Ted, you support legalizing people who are in this country illegally. Ted Cruz supported a 500% increase.
Rubio and Cruz.
H-1B visas, the guest workers
Ding, ding,
that are allowed
ding.
into this country, and Ted supports doubling the number of green cards. So I think what's important for us to understand is there is a way forward on this issue that we can bring our country together on. And when I'm president, I will do it. And it will begin by bringing illegal immigration under control and proving it to the American people.
Dana. Senator Cruz.
Look, I understand that Marco wants to raise confusion. It is not accurate what he just said, that I supported legalization. Indeed, I led the fight against his legalization and amnesty bill. And you know, there was one commentator that put it this way, that for Marco to suggest our record's the same, it is like suggesting the fireman and the arsonist have the same record because they're both at the scene of the fire. He was fighting to grant amnesty and not to secure the border. I was fighting to secure the border. And this also goes to trust. Listen, on campaign trails, candidates all the time make promises. You know, Marco said he learned that the American people didn't trust the federal government. He campaigned in Florida promising
It's okay. The bell has rang. Now you stop speaking.
Promising to lead the fight against amnesty.
Oh my God.
Can you answer that question, please?
Does Ted Cruz rule out ever legalizing people that are in this country illegally now?
Senator Cruz?
I have never supported legalization.
Do you rule it out?
I have never supported legalization, and I
answer the question, yes or no.
And let me tell you how you do this. What you do is you enforce the law. What you do is you enforce the law.
How is this? Well, Carly Fiorina, shut up.
What you do is
with the political class.
What you do is you enforce the law. I've laid out a very, very detailed...
Stay tuned for our continuing coverage live from the spin room after the debate ends. This is SRN.
Welcome back to the CNN Facebook Republican presidential debate here at the Venetian, Las Vegas. The war against ISIS will pose many new challenges for the next commander-in-chief. The last two presidents pursued a Middle East policy that supported toppling dictators to try to promote democracy. Senator Cruz, you have said the world would be safer today if Saddam Hussein were still in power in Iraq, Muammar Gaddafi ruled Libya, and Hosni Mubarak ruled Egypt. So would it be your policy to preserve dictatorships rather than promoting democracy in the Middle East?
Well, if I believe in an America-first foreign policy, that far too often President Obama and Hillary Clinton, and unfortunately more than a few Republicans, have gotten distracted from the central focus of keeping this country safe. So let's go back to the beginning of the Obama administration, when Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama led NATO in toppling the government in Libya. And they did it because they wanted to promote democracy. A number of Republicans supported them. The result of that, and we were told then that there were these moderate rebels that would take over. Well, the result is Libya is now a terrorist war zone run by jihadists. Move over to Egypt. Once again, the Obama administration, encouraged by Republicans, toppled Mubarak, who had been a reliable ally of the United States, of Israel, and in its place, Morsi and the Muslim Brotherhood came in, a terrorist organization. And we need to learn from history. These same leaders, Obama, Clinton, and far too many Republicans, want to topple Assad. Assad is a bad man. Gaddafi was a bad man. Mubarak had a terrible human rights record. But they were assisting us, at least Gaddafi and Mubarak, in fighting radical Islamic terrorists. And if we topple Assad, the result will be ISIS will take over Syria, and it will worsen U.S. national security interests. And because Iran has declared war on us,
Shut up.
Shouldn't be toppling.
It's not your time to speak. Shut up.
Islamic terrorists and that are helping.
Will someone shut Ted Cruz's mic off?
Your question, Mr. Trump. Yes. We are talking.
Oh my God! What a little baby.
And you're okay with Mr. Assad staying
I have to speak. I have to speak. You have 2 hours to speak.
In power,
Shut up.
Hezbollah is winning. Iran is winning in Yemen. They are winning everywhere. If they're winning, how can we be?
God. I think Assad is a bad guy. Very bad guy. All right? Lots of people killed.
Is it Seinfeld?
People we have no
bad
idea.
Man, Jerry.
Rebels.
Very bad man.
The patriotic rebels. We have no idea. A lot of people think that they're ISIS. We have to do one thing at a time. We can't be fighting ISIS and fighting Assad. Assad is fighting ISIS. He's fighting ISIS. Russia's fighting now ISIS. And Iran is fighting ISIS. We have to do one thing at a time. We can't go, and I watched Lindsey Graham. He said, I've been here for 10 years fighting. Well, he'll be there with that thinking for another 50 years. He won't be able to solve the problem. We have to get rid of ISIS first. After we get rid of ISIS, we'll start thinking about it. But we can't be fighting Assad. And when you're fighting Assad, you're fighting Russia, you're fighting a lot of different groups. But we can't be fighting everybody at one time.
Governor Christie, is he right? Because if we step back, Iran goes nuclear. Is Donald Trump right?
Well, I think we have to focus, Hugh, on exactly what the priorities are. And to me, what I've always said is that the president has set up an awful situation through his deal with Iran. Because what his deal with Iran has done is empowered them and enriched them. And that's the way ISIS has been created and formed here. ISIS is created and formed because of the abuse that Assad and his Iranian sponsors have rained down on the Sunnis in Syria. And so when we empower Iran, this is why this president, and when Hillary Clinton says,